I noticed back, I don't know if it was the first or second meeting in December, and that isn't particularly important, but it looked to me like you guys kind of got surprised with a reappointment to the drainage board. And you chose to keep the person on that board that was there, and my personal feeling is I didn't have any problem with that, but it seems to me like you guys kind of get surprised with those from time to time, where it would be more fair to you if whoever is needing a reappointment gave you some lead notice on it, and then you had a chance to do something with that, because one of the drawbacks is that if boards stay stagnant, you don't end up with a turnover in them that gives them new blood and new thinking and things like that. So I think you're kind of looking at a tip of the iceberg kind of situation. Yeah, it's showing up in Plan Commission, but there's a lot of other places where it might be, if you could get some sort of a universal plan going, it'd be to your benefit in knowing in advance what you were expected to do. Didn't seem very fair to me to have it pop up there and you're sort of sitting there thinking, well, you know, what do we do with this thing, you know?
Well, that's fine. I'm just speaking as 1/3, and as far as I'm concerned, you're exactly right where I was. But then on the other hand, just because maybe I didn't disagree with him on a lot of things, or that person, no secret I think we were talking about, but just because I disagreed with his philosophy or his belief with what he had contributed to that commission or that drainage board, I thought outweighed maybe his really importance or belief on one particular project. And so I didn't think just because of that I should eliminate it, because I had gotten a lot of positive input as to what he thinks about that overall project. So I kind of put my personal feelings that I thought he was overboard on some things aside, still considering those, but I looked at the positive that he contributed, or that person contributed.
Well, and understand, I only used that as an example.
I know.
And
yeah. But that's right. But that's a good. But that's a good one. And Stanley, when I came on board 4 years ago, yeah, we would come to these meetings and like single out, but the planning area is one where you have a lot of library boards. Mm-hmm. Okay. They bring us names, and I guess I thought then, and I think somewhat now, that they're good at what they do, or we wouldn't have got the name, and so, okay, we'll approve it. I think the unfortunate thing that happened in the past year or so has probably opened a lot of eyes that we need to be. But I want to say this, I'm sorry, I want to go back to, so when I first come on board and they come in and they give us this name and okay, I then started on my own to try to find people who might be interested in certain things, and quite frankly, I just failed. I just didn't find. I called, people I thought would be good at things, and they go, well, don't want anything to do with it. So I thought, oh, maybe it's not my job to be out there trying to find the people. But I do like what we did last year with I do like putting it out in the papers and getting names in, and quite frankly, it worked in Busco. I mean, Palla G will make a good person, and I wouldn't have thought about her if it wouldn't have been for the paper. But yeah, you're right. I guess we sometimes they do bring us the names, and I have to think, oh, they probably are all right. Or
well, I'm an example of a situation you were in where you were, hunting and hunting and hunting for woodland and lakes, and nothing was showing up, and well, I took it as an honor that you accepted our recommendation out of WCCC, what we sent to you, and I mean that sincerely. I took it as an honor, and I don't take something like that on unless I plan to do my best at it, and to some extent, you know, you go into something like that, and the first part of the thing is you got to overcome your own ignorance to even know how to relate to what's going on there and what they do and why they do it and where they came from and all that kind of stuff. And there's a learning curve in it. And so for a while, you're not terribly productive perhaps, but the other side of it is that you know, you can go in with your mind made up to do your best and overcome that. And that's my approach to things. And I'm not trying to brag, but the comment the reason why I brought that up, you know, ultimately after I don't know how many meetings you folks didn't have somebody, and then you had one person, and that was me, and that's still not a very big resource, you know. And so it seems to me like you've got a situation there where if there could be a better resource, and I don't know how to generate that, I don't exactly know. I know we would be willing to help insofar as people we know and that sort of thing. We certainly would be willing to help and try to provide the best information we could, and maybe that's an approach where we could do some things, and where you know, where we can reach across the county and try to find out what we can and provide names and that sort of thing. It needs to be a team effort. I think what people get to thinking is, oh well, we've got the commissioners and they take care of everything. Well, you know, coming to meetings for a while and watching what you do, well, the more help you get, the better off you are.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it.
So, well, I don't want in any way to sound critical. That's not what I'm after. It just looks to me like I see you guys get blindsided from time to time. It just seems like it's just not fair.
Well, and it's so difficult anymore to get volunteers, and you know, look at our churches; they're the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's part of society.
I think one of the things, and having served, I guess, 12 years, 13, going on 13, I think back when it first started, number one, if you want to spur interest, get controversy going. And I think of the wind, I think of the Humane Society, I can think of the wheel tax. You had all kind of people coming on there. I can remember when the trails first come in, wanted money, and you had those. So if you want to really find people that's interested, like yourself, you became interested because you were doubly interested in a project and what that was going to do to your area. Sure. Whether you would have had that same interest if it had been up on the northeast corner, we don't know, and we won't go through that. But if you want people to get interested in something, why, I can go out here and get a 6-member committee, and I have them now, and I can get 3 people that's for the Humane Society and 3 people that doesn't want it, and I can have those in 2 hours, guaranteed. Will you serve on this committee? There'll be 3 bringing loaded guns and 3 bringing best wishes, you know, but that's the way it is. And I see that over the years, the more controversy that you have within your county, the more interest you get. And I think it's a compliment to you people. I'd have probably lost a little bet if you'd have stayed with us after the decision. I know, well, they'll, you know, they have an interest now, but you come. And I appreciate that, and I told these gentlemen that I wish there's more people that would attend our meetings.
Well, I know what we have said amongst ourselves, and that is that we realize that we've gone through quite a bit of our lives living our lives like people do. You know, you have your family, you work, you go to church, you do all the things it takes to raise your kids and so on, and that really makes the amount of time you have kind of limited, and things go on around you that you don't pay attention to. And we've awakened to the idea that, and I'm talking about the ones of us in WCCC, we've awakened to the idea that you know, we've really not watched state, federal, or local too hard along the way when we really should have been doing more. And so for us, it's come a little later, but at least it's come while we've still got time before Tombstone, so you know, we'll try to be helpful and try to be positive and try to, you know, do things that will help our county grow and be better, and that's really where our hearts are at on it. And at the same time, we've found that what we pass around among ourselves is also, we're more aware of some things at the federal level, more aware of things at the state level, and I think that's all good. And I feel like I've voted with more knowledge this last time maybe than ever before. So, you know, it's it has positive effects, and we don't intend to just disappear, because we think we can. And we think we can be useful, and would want to be, you know.
Good.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing to have happen.
And we appreciate it. Okay,
You're on the fee committee and health. That was for you. You're on the health and the fee committee.
Okay.
That's been, I was giving that to you to check on their next meeting.
do you have anything?
I do. January 9th is mandatory sexual harassment class for all managers, and that comes about from the risk management that was given to us by travelers earlier. And then January 17th, we're all meeting, Pam, Tom, Glenn, and I, off the risk management to review the changes that we have implemented with travelers on 7 subjects that we've changed. I had a resignation in my office of my chief deputy, Tracy Hare. She is taking a job for an insurance company in Fort Wayne for better money, like I said. No issues there. At the time, I have appointed Vicki Schrader, my chief deputy. She's keeping the payroll status, and instead of bringing Lisa Richmond over part-time from the treasurer's office, I'm having her full-time and moved her into more or less a payables receivable position instead of the chief deputy position at this time until further. So the distribution for the 2012 is done out to the townships and libraries and schools and everybody else. We finished it up about the 26th. Is that when you got the money? 26th? You had it in your account on the 26th?
Yeah.
We might have finished it up. And overall for the year, the good of the county is, if you look at the receipts and expenditures, that's one big thing. We're only down just a little over 7,000 from where we started the year. So I thought that was a really good way to look at it overall, and it must be in the commissioners, our council's report, but it was, oh, here it is, $7,012.42 from beginning to end. But I gave you all a list of the funds and where they ended at the beginning of the year. There's some CUME funds, CUME Capital and CUME Bridge, which you're already aware of, that were down. So was Rainy Day, which goes back to the issue that we had with health insurance this year and having to pay all that out of there. So the big monies that contributed to the larger county general was the Cadget money. The reimbursement from the state was $604,000. Property taxes alone showed an increase of $363,000, and money coming into the county from the state for reimbursement of Title 4D, which is child support, was a little over $107,000. So those were our 3 biggest areas that we showed increase to it. And like I said, the other 3 showing decreases were CUME Bridge, CUME Capital, and Rainy Day. So I'm going to report that to the council tomorrow, and they'll feedback to if they want to transfer some money out of county general to Rainy Day, which pays for the same appropriations. It's just, it's not something that they sit there. The 100R, which is the report for county wages, will be advertised in the paper and presented to you the next meeting and uploaded through Gateway. We got down to about 600 homestead verifications not turned in to the county. So of those 600 people, we have to, so far, are being mandated to remove them. There's tons of emails flying around about what if someone walks in today and hands it to you, knowing that you have to turn right around and put it back on because the state's not making you take it off for a year. But where do we stand and what do we want to do? So I think everybody locally and through the state wants to be done the same way, so I'll get back to you on that. And tomorrow is our 2013 hearings for the entire county with the DLGF, the Department of Local Government. So I imagine our rates will be issued to us from our 1782 notices in about 2 weeks is what we're averaging. We'll know the rates for the taxes for next year will come. But the hearings are tomorrow, the open hearings, based on the budgets that were turned in from all the townships, the libraries, and the schools. The hearing's upstairs at 10:30 tomorrow with the DLGF rep. Just in case you've never been to the second floor. And
So a
really,
little over, we spent a little over $7,000 more than what we took in for the year,
correct,
county.
yes. That's all I have. And I was giving this to him, I didn't want him to get it. This was that thing on, they were gonna change the food established checks, how many times in the fees. And she gave us this back and then they never came to us again, that they wanted to change the ordinance.
No, so my guess is they never dealt with it,
You think I
because
should
that was just,
trace
that was
it?
just, well, no, save it, but that was just to tell us that they were gonna look at it, but apparently they never
Well,
have, so.
I just keep sticking it in you guys' stuff, but
Okay.
sooner or later I wanna get rid of it. I'm done. I'm worse, I'm done.
Did we